Malcolm, Patrick.
No, you're on.
Hey, everybody, we're live, and as promised, Malcolm is going to be joining us. He's been a good supporter of ours. Jimmy, as usual, is distracted. As usual, you know, the other day...
I'm looking at Upholstery.com, and obviously...
I think the other day we said something, and 20 minutes later he responded. Remember that, Patrick?
Oh, that was Michaela.
That was a tumbleweed.
that was Michaela and the crickets. Remember the crickets?
He was trying to look up tumbleweed sounds, but tumbleweeds don't make sounds.
Isn't it funny that looking for the sound, he created another tumbleweed moment? I just realized that. He's trying to get a tumbleweed moment.
Well, you know what? This isn't rehearsed. You know that, you guys?
No, it's not rehearsed. I think,
a perfect double tumbleweed.
I think people can tell.
I'll look for it tonight, though.
But our guest is waiting. Now, I'm really interested in talking to Malcolm. He's been a friend of ours for a long time. I don't know why he's seizing us, Jimmy.
Me.
But I hope he's learning something. He's skilled
Learning something? My God.
But we're going to give him a call because...
so we're continuing our special guest series.
Yeah, we talked briefly before we called it. We wanted to thank Malcolm for being patient with us because he was supposed to be on last week. We canceled. I mean, things are... we're flying by the seat of our pants a lot. But we're glad that he can join us. So I'm going to call him now.
Douglas said tumbleweeds crackle when they hit something.
Oh, they do?
They do. There is
a sound effect there, Jeff.
Yeah, but generally when they're going across the desert or wherever they are silent. They are stealth-like.
Do you have? Do you have a tumbleweed collection at home?
Here he goes again.
He's smoking some of that.
The only
he's
episode he's seen?
He's smoking some of that bad stuff again.
No, he hit upon a nerve. I actually had a liking at one point for tumbleweeds. I was fascinated by them, and
you'd only see them once in a great while.
Well, we don't have many in New England.
Should have seen it out in Wyoming. Me and Michaela down like I-80 or something. No, it was a different highway, 20 something. They're all over the highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right, let's give Malcolm a call. Okay, did I have his number? What happened to his number, Patrick?
It was in the email.
No, it wasn't in an email. Uh-oh.
I'll find it. Don't ask for it live, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
A lot of people prank calling him.
Just go to your recent calls.
Hey, you just called him.
I did.
Yeah.
But I can't. Lewiston, Maine. Haverhill. Oh.
I know that's not it, because he already told us where he's from.
Recent.
Oh. It was the last call you took, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure which one.
Let me see it. That's a good start. There.
You sure that's his?
Yeah, I'll put it on speaker. I'm gonna stop talking.
Hello there.
Hey, Malcolm. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Jimmy's here, and he's a little distracted, so maybe you could say something interesting to him to get him off his phone.
Actually, Malcolm, Kevin hasn't said anything interesting all day, so...
Any left-handed scissors you can use.
Oh, well, you obviously are hanging around with Kevin way too much.
No, there are left-handed scissors.
I know there are, but people, I mean, I never knew that there was until, umpteen years ago. I said, oh, really? Yeah, grab the, oh, wow, okay.
I think Malcolm's, I think the reference is when you're watching the classes, he's struggling with the right-handed scissors.
All the time.
Yeah. Well, you got to use the right tool for the job. And if you're lefty, you use left-handed tools.
And teaching left-handed people can be challenging too. This one, for instance, in the back of us, you guys, was Jimmy sewed the deck, and we sewed the deck and the seat on the sewing machine, but then he had to sew the deck and the seat down to this actual piece, and he had to work from the left. Right?
Left to the right. I can do right to left too as well, but it's just you got to get into the rhythm of it.
Do what's most comfortable for you. Otherwise, you just get sore and you mess up the work.
Yeah, so true.
So Malcolm, you wanted to talk a little bit about you have a different. First of all, do you want to give the name of your shop and where you're located?
Sure. It's Malcolm's Fine Upholstery, and I'm located in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, that's golf country out there.
Yeah, and nice, and the climate's nice.
That's true. I'm surrounded by a bunch of putters.
Are you? Really? Well, now what's the temperature like there right now? Just to digress for a second.
It's well over 90. I went for a hike this morning. Got to get up pretty early. And I mean, I keep the house at 80. It's probably 90, 95 out right now.
Oh, wow.
That is hot for this time of year. It's never. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking
We're
August weather for us.
Yeah, we're doing 50 right now. That's a high.
I know, I'm envious. Deep winter, not so envious, but the rest of the year, yeah. I grew up around New York City, so I've only been out in Arizona for about 25 years.
Wow, that's nice. We have to get out there sometime.
Yeah, we should do a tour again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, Malcolm,
anytime, show up.
we wanted to talk. You
Yeah,
mentioned.
if you hear some strange knocking around 4 in the morning, that's us.
I'll just hand you guys some tools and put you to work.
Yeah, hey, no problem. I'm good for it. I'm cheap. I'm easy. Kevin knows that. He's had me for years.
Cheap and easy. Malcolm, you were talking about how you have a different. Well, first of all, your background. You were saying that you were a woodworker before you were an upholsterer. Is that right?
Yes, for a long time. Professionally and as a hobby, I have had a very diverse career, but my grandfather and my uncle Ed were from Newfoundland, Canada, and my grandfather was a marine carpenter.
Wow.
And not only that, he built homes as well. He was a residential building contractor when they moved to New Jersey from Newfoundland,
So
in the 1940s.
when you say marine carpenter, you're talking about he's making boats, right? Wooden boats.
They make wooden sailing ships up in Newfoundland.
Wow, that's a talent because you have to bend the wood a certain way. I mean, even making cushions for a boat is hard.
Yeah, and these weren't just boats. These were like sailing schooners, like 3-masted schooners to catch cod off the Grand Banks of Newfoundland.
Wow, that's a talent.
And he built homes and he built furniture. He built everything. He was very, very talented. I didn't know him. He died, but his son, my Uncle Ed, I learned carpentry and fine woodworking from him as a child.
That's a fantastic. We talked crossover skills. So that is carpentry is a great crossover skill to upholstery. So
it is, and particularly trim carpentry and or furniture making, cabinets, built-ins. I've done all that stuff.
No.
So then you switched to. Are you exclusively upholstery now, or what got you started with upholstery?
I bought a commercial sewing machine about 15 years ago now. I had to look it up, and in preparation for speaking to you last week, and I wanted to make bags and cases for my other business, which was industrial filmmaking.
Did you say Did you say industrial film making?
Yeah. I was a filmmaker for many years. So rather than going into the trades, which I did before college, I got a bachelor's of fine arts in film and television production in New York City.
Wow, we got my nephew is a professor at Emerson, and he's just finished his second documentary, and I think he was showing out in Arizona. What's the name of that documentary, Patrick?
Film is dead. Right?
Film is dead. Film is alive. Something like that. But Peter's got.
Okay.
He went around looking out and searching people like you, probably, who are collectors. Do you collect film?
No, I don't. I'm not a film historian by any means.
That's what he was doing. He was going out and finding people who collected film. But when you do industrial film, did you do upholstery? Was that one of your films?
No, that came later. When I going to college, I worked in construction as my side gig, and I've always repaired furniture, and I built wooden furniture. It wasn't upholstered, but I've always enjoyed fine furniture. It was just one of my I appreciate it. Really nice. And back in New York, you saw a lot more antiques than you have out here in Arizona by a large margin. And that's why I found your website and then your educational films, and I bought the entire series, and they're absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
I encourage anyone to get all of them.
I appreciate that. There are a lot of.
I learned so much about the kind of furniture that I like, but it's just not here. I don't do it on even a monthly basis. It's just not a thing here in Arizona.
Well, that's good to hear because as you know, as a filmmaker, it's very people don't realize the things that go on behind the camera. Like Patrick does all the editing.
Oh yeah, no, it's a tremendous amount of work. I have full appreciation of that. I think we've had a Facebook chat before about some things.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've had you on the YouTube. Finally, we had you on the YouTube, the live show. It's been a while.
The circle back to upholstery. So I've had a very diverse career. I stopped doing film professionally just before COVID. I had a post-production company and I closed it down. It was just becoming too unprofitable.
Yeah.
And but for 10 years prior to that, I've been making things, sewn products. And I sent you guys a couple of sheaths for your industrial shears. So I make stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was looking for them.
We have them in our shop in Arlington, and I just wanted to remind people again, Patrick. Malcolm, can you just say your company name again and where you're located?
Yeah, it's Malcolm's Fine Upholstery, and I'm located in Scottsdale, Arizona. But my products company is on Etsy, and I started that up last November, and it's Jolly Dodger Canvas Co.etsy.com. So then you can see some of the products that I've been making there. I'm just really getting going with that.
Is there any way we can link? Is there any way we can link our website or something to?
And he can always, anytime he wants, post a link on the forum.
Post a link on the forum.
store.
Patrick said.
Yeah.
I think I did that when I first started it, but now that I've got some more products, I can do it by product.
Yeah, you always.
Do that.
People are always
If you're
asking where
okay
to
with
get
that,
stuff.
yeah, I'll put it up there.
Well, we really appreciate it. I mean,
we could tell them we kind of stopped selling the supplies.
We just couldn't keep up with. I mean, it's not that we were super busy. It's just that we're doing so many other things. It's hard to keep up.
Being a merchant is its own business. You guys, I could see where that you would have to have somebody just doing that one thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And they weren't people. I don't know. We weren't getting that many orders. They were going to Amazon to get something that was of a lesser quality.
Yeah.
So it's
and you can't buy in sufficient quantities to have a discount like so many online suppliers. It's really tough. And I suffer the same thing when I manufacture my few products, is that I really have to be careful about, what else is out there, because, if you're selling something that is not unique, then it's just all price-based.
Yeah, and now shifting a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about the online classes that we have up for sale on the website, and I
heartily recommend all of them. Get the whole package.
And Jimmy's sitting right next to me, and I think
I autograph some for you, Malcolm, if you want.
How's that
Send me a
possible?
DVD. I still have a player.
I might have to come out to personally deliver them to you. That's all right. I'll look for. I don't know what's the major carrier. JetBlue? Does that JetBlue come out?
I'd be
soon?
worried you step on a cactus, Jimmy.
That's
don't
right.
trust
Hey,
you out there.
you know what? I could do remote work.
I just
for
had
you
an
guys.
awful image of you showing up at his door in a Speedo.
Oh my
Oh
God!
my God! Wow!
It's
What-
like a hell of a tan out here.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
No, we just like to kid, but we don't kid on the online classes. And I think the reason I want to
If you don't drink before.
draw
Yeah,
Jimmy in,
I like my white sangria, by the way.
he's really a willing participant as a learner. For an adult guy who's my age, he comes as somebody open and willing to learn and willing to do things over and over again, which is what makes you a good tradesman, right, Malcolm?
You have to be tenacious and you have to be willing to fail. So, you just have to keep and also learn new skills. When I take on a project I've never done before, I do a lot of research on what it takes me. And if it's for a client, I give them a fixed price, and it doesn't matter how long it takes me to do it. So, the clients expect a certain level of quality and efficiency. And if you're not, just do it for a price.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like you, Jimmy, because you do a lot of different things, not just upholstery. You kind of do.
Jimmy's patience is what really makes the class. I think it's a key to the classes. If I had somebody that was impatient or didn't show up, we asked Jimmy to show up. He's always here.
That's important, especially when you're videotaping it.
Yeah, and we have schedule, and we probably drop the ball more than he ever drops the ball as far as canceling, and it's just the nature of the
you're in a small business. You have no choice. You're the whim of your clients sometimes.
But Jimmy's done this. This is an online class that we're doing behind us for the sofa. Finally, people have been asking about sofas, and the thing about this, Malcolm, you might appreciate this sofa's. they put this together in pieces, and they bolted it together. The arms are bolted, the back's bolted, and it's a nightmare to upholster. So.
Yeah, that's a lot like a lot of stuff that I see here in Arizona. It's all much more modern furniture.
Right.
I have to really go out of my way to find something that's, quote unquote antique quality.
I think I'm a little spoiled out here because we do, like you mentioned, in New York, Boston, we got a lot of antiques.
Yeah. There's a lot like that in South Dakota. We were living there too. South Dakota's the same way. Michaela, it was all new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, obviously because people travel, they're not going to bring a lot of the things that they had way back when. I mean, I would because
it's true. When a lot of people have moved here from other parts of the country, California, Chicago, New York, just as I did. And, they bring some things, but then they, all the couches and recliners, they just buy new here. It's gigantic. It's like 2/3 bigger than anything I ever saw in Manhattan. The furniture is just crazy huge.
Yeah.
It's all leather and it's all foam.
Yeah. Because they're building around, as a carpenter, you probably appreciate, and I've talked about this, they're basically starting with the box. There's no curved pieces or anything, so you really have to soften it with the big pieces of padding you put on. Patrick, are there any questions on there from YouTube?
Just Malcolm's tumbleweed joke.
Just mix.
I think it threw people off at the time. We're a little bit late today, that's why.
Yeah, but people they watch this. Now we have a fan in Australia. I said fan, didn't I? Do we have one person?
Yeah, you're a single fan.
I think he's more. I think she's Jimmy's fan more than mine.
it's okay. I'll take them as they come.
They're all over. This is awesome.
But she watches it many hours later. I think.
Yeah.
She's been a good supporter.
These programs are very useful because you end up building a library, and I've gone back through a lot of them. They're really quite interesting.
Good. Well, I'd like to hear that. It keeps us going, when we have positive comments back. We have a man, Blair. I don't know if you follow Blair Gilly.
Well, he was on 3 weeks ago.
He was
I've
on.
not been on his website because I haven't found it, but I know you talked to him a lot. You had him on 2 weeks ago?
I think so. Yeah. Right, Pat.
Yeah, the week before that was Paul.
And Paul, I get time flies. Doesn't
This
it?
is fun though. I like it. We gotta keep doing these guests.
Well, Blair, I mentioned this before. It's worth mentioning. He started in his living room watching the videos, and then now he's got like a 4,000 square foot shop. Isn't that? You know what? That makes it all worthwhile. And Jimmy, you're part of the success. Patrick and Michaela behind the scenes, part of the success, and I love hearing stories like that. I mean, he's made a career out of it. He's got a family. He's got a new baby coming.
Yeah.
I think he's got 2 or 3.
I think we might have to go down there and look for a job ourselves.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Well, we could leave the kids behind. Patrick and Michaela,
What do you say, Jim?
We're probably going to be in Malcolm's neck of the woods before you guys are. We're going to be there this summer.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to check out JetBlue tonight, smart ass. And see
Going to Arizona.
There goes our monetization.
That you can say.
One thing I found about, quote unquote, getting a job is that, at least here in Arizona, trades pay very poorly. So I've been in business for myself for many years. Over the decades, I've had quite a few businesses. And I looked at what people were paying, and I said, it's just cheap. It's just more efficient for me to learn it on myself and do everything I can on my own.
Yeah. You have the information. When I first started in this trade, 40, 50 years ago, you'd learn from one or 2 people, and it was dependent on what their mood was, what they were going to show you, if they showed you anything. And sometimes you could be in a shop, they could put their back to you, and you really were challenged in the learning. Look at what we got today, the tools. I mean, I think of Blair. I can't believe that he's learned upholstery through these videos. It's incredible.
I think you like
And
his.
I've been an apprentice twice in 2 different industries. And, one was working for my uncle, doing carpentry. And the other one was when I first started in filmmaking. A friend of mine's father, who immigrated from Croatia, was a filmmaker, and I worked for him when I was in high school.
That's good.
And then I only went to college after that because of him, and that's how I found my way into filmmaking for so many years, and now, back to running my own company.
Well, we're glad you're
do a
successful.
YouTube channel about the filmmaking. That would be really popular.
Well, you know what, Patrick? Blair is doing.
That would be really popular.
Blair is doing his own YouTubes. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So he's kind of.
We like that though.
Yeah,
we
of course.
want more
competition. We'll put him out of his misery.
The more upholstery channels, the better. So
do you have anything? Go
I've
ahead.
only made a couple of promotional films for my own self. There's one on the Etsy channel. I've got a short video of me making a pillow, something like that. That's about it.
Well,
That's
Well,
great.
it's a start.
yeah, that's good.
You
Any
know?
content, I think, is good. Any content, really.
Yeah.
And it's cool to hear all the different locations. I mean, he's in Arizona, Randy's in Wisconsin,
Right.
Claire's in Alabama. It's
And
different
yeah,
everywhere.
so-
It's an international channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draw people from all
I
over
think-
the world. It's great.
I think we should start a GoFund and send me out to these places.
Well, Wanted to send
With what
Jimmy
money?
yeah.
on a
I
batting.
mean, Malcolm seems like a nice guy. I mean, I can cook and bake, Malcolm. I'm good.
Oh, what a
I
cheap-
can
what a
support
cheapskate.
myself. Yeah, don't worry about it.
He's trying to get himself a free trip
Buy
here.
a sewing machine. Have you crank out some product?
Oh, God, hey, look, I work. Okay, all right, you got me on
Yeah,
that one.
at least put you to work if you go out there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't mind working. I'm good.
Well, since and just to bring it back to business is that so I wasn't seeing I was, especially this year, I was losing a lot more estimates. I think people are just throwing their furniture out, frankly.
Yeah.
Randy just tuned in. Randy, we're
So
talking to
I've
Malcolm right now.
I've seen that. Now, I don't have a long-established company. I don't have a reputation, for being around. And also, I work alone. I don't have a lot of very low-cost labor to do all the stripping and all that other stuff. So for me, if I'm going to do a piece, it better be a really expensive piece or an antique piece, and something that needs refinishing or woodworking or broken joints. So that's like my little niche, is I'll do more restoration work.
Well, sometimes that you can get more of the estimates when you do that, and I've noticed, we probably 50% of our estimates we don't get the job 50% of the time.
Yeah, well, I'm worse this year with that. So
Yeah, I see a trend. I see it. Yeah.
I'm building up my products business, and I taught myself how to do machine embroidery, and I learned how to program the software. And I'm just about ready to buy a CO2 laser cutting machine to help me make smaller products, so
Wow.
I can crank out more pieces.
Yeah. Sounds like you really have to be diversified.
Yeah, well, and it makes sense for me. And then I've got 4 sewing machines, a serger, a leather edging machine, and a big cutting table. So I have a little factory, and the woodworking I do out in the garage, and the upholstery pieces I bring them in the house, because in the summer it's so hot here, you can't work outside, you pass out.
Yeah. Again, the name of your company, just for people who are just tuning in now, Malcolm.
Malcolm's Fine Upholstery, Scottsdale, Arizona, and I also have Jolly Dodger Canvas Co. on Etsy, so you can find my products there.
We encourage people in that area to use Malcolm. I haven't seen. I haven't actually seen the work, but I know that if he's watching,
No, we've seen his. He's
posted on the Facebook, right?
A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have total trust in him, and I trust that he's competitive in his pricing and all, because we've done shows on pricing, at least in this part of the country, and
That's very useful, and I find that I'm also on a couple of other upholsterers' channels on Facebook, which is very useful, and they get people from all over the world, and I always chime in, because so many people say, how much does it cost me? They say, listen, it doesn't matter what it costs, it matters how many hours.
Yes.
Anybody can figure out the materials. It's the labor, and then whatever your shop rate is, well, that's not much. So, but to really figure an estimate, you need to know how long.
That's right. That's that says it simply, Malcolm.
Yeah, you actually put that in a way that's so easy.
It really is. You figure out your shop time, you figure out how many hours, and then there are variables.
Everybody's buying, if they're buying the same materials, that's a wide variable. That's customer dependent predominantly.
Yeah.
But it's the hours of labor that goes into the whole process. If you could figure that,
And then
people say, the pricing. It's like pricing doesn't mean anything, because I'm in Scottsdale, you're in Boston, somebody else is in Alabama, someone else is in Thailand, but the labor's the same.
with any business, you have to break the code. You have to break the code of what you're doing. And in upholstery, the people who make money are fast and good, and that's a rare combination. I mean, it's like reaching the professional leagues.
And that takes a lot of time and some talent, but that's like any profession.
That's true.
If you're more efficient, you do better because you're not going to be overcharging. You're still making a decent profit.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I look at this not as a hobby, but as a business. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you know, if it's not profitable, why am I doing it? You know, there's certain things I won't do, like the big foam pouches. I've told a number of people flat out, I said, throw it out. You know,
No.
it's going to cost me more than to, you know, have the couch brought to my place. I don't have a moving truck. I'm only one person. I'm not going to kill myself lifting it up. And when you add in all the costs, and I'll lay it out for them and say, listen, you'll probably be happier with a piece. And, you know, it's not fancy. It doesn't have nice show wood. You know, they always want leather, but they're never willing to pay, you know, $300 to $600 a hide.
Leather's expensive. It's more expensive in this part of the country too. You know, it's true. I mean, you know, when you have a manufacturer, they have an order for 10,000 sofas, and they have ways of cutting.
Yeah.
You know, that cuts costs. The more they do, the volume, and then you get, you know,
no shop like you or I have can possibly compete with a manufacturer. It's literally impossible. It would be like asking your auto mechanic to build you a car.
Yeah, that's true. Did you hear that, Jimmy?
Yes, I've asked him before. That was my last car, and he kind of said, "No, I can't do it for today. Not today, Jim. Sorry."
Malcolm, we're gonna get back to more business, but we would you be available for more calls in the future?
Yeah, of course. No, I enjoy watching your show. You guys really have something good going on.
I hope you get something in between the joking.
Yeah, the poor comedy skills that Kevin seems to just pour out every.
Well, when you do the estimates, that's interesting. When you talk about particular techniques, because like all of us, we all come from different backgrounds. You have a much more of a old world experience and with traditional materials, and I only learned that from watching your films. And before that, I studied automotive upholstery and marine canvas work, and that's really what I've done more of.
They're more practical, those two.
Well, Malcolm, this one in the background here is going to be a really good class. Probably going to be the longest class we've done.
Oh, I don't know. No, that settee was the longest one.
You think this will be shorter than the settee?
Yeah, I definitely think
What do you
this
think,
one.
It might be because there's a lot of sewing on this, and you sew one cushion, you sew them all, really.
Well, it's the biggest project we've done.
Yeah.
Size-wise, it's the biggest one.
It's for size, it's big.
Yeah.
All right, Malcolm. Listen, thank you for joining us, and you have a good. It's been 25 minutes. That's really good.
I appreciate that. It was good speaking with you, and we'll talk again.
Okay, Malcolm.
Thanks,
take
Malcolm.
it easy.
Take care.
Okay,
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, now, Jimmy, you can get all the jokes in you want. Now, I want to just mention Jimmy
Not
Burtis.
No, I have to save up mine for next week.
You don't have to talk about it after you get off the phone. You don't just forget about it.
Well, can I
What do you
mention?
think? I think Malcolm is a completely different perspective than the last two guys.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
he's done a car upholstery. That is
good.
like
Yeah, there's
It's
a lot more
amazing how
sewing.
different it is in Arizona than it is where Blair is and where Paul. Where was Paul again? I forget where he was from.
I think Blair sees a lot of antiques down there in Alabama.
I
too.
think a lot of people. I think
But-
it depends when people like Malcolm says. You know, when you're moving from Chicago to a certain distance, after a while, people say, "No, I'm not carrying that. I leave it behind." They can, you know, and of course, people pick up what's in that area for furniture, and of course, it's sometimes a completely different style.
But he's doing everything. It sounds like.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
really cool.
that commercial upholstery is something I'd like just to see because
Yeah, well, he's
there's a
trying to
place
get
in
it
Belmont.
You want to work hard. You work hard doing that.
Well, yeah,
man.
I mean you do, and of course,
And your
I
space.
wanted to do auto.
It's
Want
just
to do
that.
auto?
So
Well-
Patrick comes up. Auto, you need a bay. You need a bay
Well,
or
we should ask
two.
Malcolm. Does he?
No,
when he
you
was
need
doing
a
it,
bay. You need a bay or two,
Yeah.
and a bay or two around here is very expensive. That's one of the reasons.
yeah,
that's one of the
that would how many?
stumbling
We can do it at
blocks.
Jimmy's house. Just pull into the driveway.
And
There
the
is
other
no
thing
driveway.
with commercial work is you need a space that's 10 to 10 times bigger than what we have,
Oh.
because you're going to have all these multiple pieces in there at once. Anyhow,
Well, I think Malcolm said he used to do auto. I don't know if he's currently, so maybe that explains why.
But
he
I'm
used to
sure
do it.
Could be.
I'm sure he could jump right back into it with no problem.
so is there any questions on there, Patrick? We're going to
Well,
save.
Randy's here.
Yeah, hi,
So
Randy.
maybe, I know you've had Randy on one time before. Maybe he wants to get back on again.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
I wasn't here for that one.
So we're going to save the YouTube and the Facebook for next time because is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to compile them.
Right. So
They only have 30 minutes, you know. They want to keep it up.
no.
Well, Jimmy's dying, so
Jimmy, I don't know if Jimmy has anything to offer. I did
I
want to
never
mention
do.
that I don't think he'd mind me saying this. Jimmy works for a major metropolitan movement.
talk about the boat. Yeah.
What do you call that place you work for? Without mentioning the name, it has trains.
Jimmy, he says this every time. Mention the name about 50 times.
Choo-choo
trains. Yeah.
He thinks it's like copyright.
Yeah, thinks you're in the CIA.
Violating copyright.
But what's fascinating to me is because
We'll
it's
get
an
you a
old,
job. I'll give you an application
I
on
will
Monday.
take an application, actually. Do they take old guys?
Yeah, they do.
Clearly, if Jimmy's there.
Yeah, well, I've been there a while.
So anyhow, so you run these trains. You're in charge of these trains. It's a metro. In all fairness, it's an old system. It's got all these underground subways. It's got ones that cross over bridges and all kinds of things. Right?
Yeah.
I wake up the other morning and the headlines are, "Train hits boat." The train hit a boat.
Well, we just have some energetic homeless people who decide to put a boat on the right-of-way where the commuter rail train is, and there you go.
You know, they didn't say that.
You
in
know,
the
why
headlines.
are you so quick?
Well-
why are you so quick to blame the homeless?
Yeah.
Well, because who else would have done that? Something like that, right?
Well, somebody pulled a prank. It's a dangerous prank, though, you should say.
Well, they didn't go to, you and I, we have a boat. We generally try to put it in the water.
Did
right?
the
don't
boat
think
have a
it's
name?
seabird,
Did it have a name on it?
SS Minnow.
Somebody didn't get too creative there. They could have called it
The Titanic, too.
But all I saw were the headlines and the boat on the platform after it had been hit. There was a big. It looked.
Actually, it looked like it was in pretty good shape.
No, it looked like an iceberg scraped the side of it. Now that you mention it.
An iceberg.
Yeah, it looks like the whole side of
We
it
don't
was
have
wide.
iceberg. We have an iceberg in
I wouldn't be surprised if I wake up tomorrow and say the cause of that.
Oh, you're stressed. You're under so much stress. I think you
You're
need
on a
to.
roll.
I think you need to call in sick for a day.
Well, also,
Too much spray glue with those cushions.
Yeah, I know. He's kind of.
we're going to do a public service
I remember
announcement.
when he used to. He showed me a couple of times. Jimmy, just like, yeah, just.
I think now's the time for a public service announcement.
There it is, yeah.
Here's the. Would you do the public service announcement?
Oh
for
no,
people
I
in the
could
morning?
never. I could never.
Just be cautious.
Don't
You
try
need to-
this at
Don't
home.
spray this at home. And you need a ventilated system,
Yeah.
or else this could happen to you.
See how he's acting?
I could wake up looking like you. So
His
how?
explanation, Jimmy.
Well, tell me how toxic is that? I mean,
Well, you should have ventilation. in this
Okay.
thing.
Well, ask Michaela.
but is it like a resin or poly?
Causes eye irritation, may irritate the nose and throat, cause dizziness, headache, and nausea. Intentional misuse by deliberately concentrating and inhaling the contents may be harmful or fatal.
Is that the glue or the remover?
It contains a chemical which can cause birth defects or other stuff.
Okay.
All I know is we used to have those sound things up there. Michaela could tell you how bad it was. It shouldn't even be in here. So you
Really?
don't want to mess around with too much of that
Yeah,
stuff.
it is serious. Anyhow, I think that's it, Patrick, for today, unless there's any other questions or anything.
Well, I think so. You want to talk about the project a little bit more? What we did today? You didn't really get into that.
Yeah.
Do a little preview.
Well, let Jimmy talk about it, because he's the one that's
Well,
doing
I
this.
mean, this is definitely something new. This is modern furniture, and this is, I mean, you can't do with the settee that we did, Kevin.
Yeah.
This is definitely a different style. This is all modern. We're not putting the fabric inside, stapling it, and just doing any technique that I've ever done has not been on this so far. So we are going to. It'll be cut and dried, as they say. I think.
Yep.
There won't
show
be.
the top right now.
Yeah.
People to see. I don't know if I have it. Yeah. So that's what you did today. That seam there, right?
Yeah, this is what we did today, and of course, I think because we have a lot of it cut already. Again, we're not. It's not pulling things through, and a lot of cuts here and there. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a long project. I don't believe so.
It'll be interesting.
I just saw by the size. I assumed this is going to be a big one, but I guess there's less work than the settee.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the settee. I mean, what we had the webbing. We had all the springs. We did the ties.
That's right. The settee was is a traditional piece, which required a lot of work.
Oh yeah, I mean that to build that up to make it look like it should. I mean this here you can there just isn't a lot of technique to this. I think.
Surprised you're not redoing the springs. You're keeping those.
These aren't traditional springs, Pat. These
Yeah,
are
but
manufacturer's springs.
Surprised you didn't gut it and put the.
Oh no!
Oh
You can't.
no! You know why?
You can't do that on
Because
this.
the problem being is that the frame itself couldn't hold it.
That's right. The
You
springs.
get to rebuild the whole.
You'd
the
have
whole
to.
frame.
You'd have to. Right. You'd have to. You know what? You could take the dimensions and get some pictures and say, okay, now we're going to start making something here. And this is again. Now we're starting with carpentry skills and how we're going to make this more efficient with regard to, like you say, talking about the upholstery coils
Wow.
and building that back up in a traditional way.
It's a good question. Though. People always ask, can you upgrade to coil springs on a?
I never do that.
Not on this.
It's
I
a
mean,
lightweight
I
frame.
think if people saw, I mean, we're going to turn it around anyway. But I think if once people see it, then they'll say, "Oh my God, it's not."
Yeah, it is what it is.
What a piece of junk.
No, I wouldn't
Well,
say that.
no, but you know what? They don't. There's definitely the quality. I mean, have you heard of anybody making a piece of furniture? I don't care whether it's a chair, or an ottoman, or a sofa, from start to finish, doing the carpentry as well as the upholstery. Far and few between.
And Malcolm makes a good point. Older furniture was created by craftsmen over centuries.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got pieces of furniture. I got a chair that's 95 years old,
No.
and another chair that's probably a good 45 years old.
Look at the difference. I mean, those look like pieces of plywood on those arms we were taking apart. It wasn't even.
I know.
It's not even solid, really.
No, no. And actually, you know what? When they have some of that modular furniture today, it's been on TV off and on, it's all metal, it's all steel, it's all like pushed in,
Wow.
and it's all set to go. Not like this. This is something separate.
Well, either way, you're making it better.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, all right. I think we're going to wrap up, Patrick.
All right.
So we'll see you next time, you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Malcolm and Randy.
Are we
Let's
done?
go over